What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick Ash podcast. Wanted to make sure I didn't have my mic muted. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Almost had the countdown there on loop. And I, full disclosure, I had my little second screen pulled up here. And I wanted to hear what the I wanted to hear what the countdown music sounded like, and that shit sounds like elevator music or something, or like hold music or something. So I'm gonna have to get some intro music. I'm gonna have to do something over here because that sounds like we're like on hold in a hospital elevator or something. I don't know, but that shit, it's very soothing. Which maybe wouldn't sound like hospital music. I don't know, but a lot of mixed feelings on that. But good afternoon, good afternoon. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Yeah. So as always, this is a last minute random live that wanted to do here. Figured it was gonna happen sometime today, so I appreciate you guys for popping in, popping out, or if you're watching our replay, I appreciate that as well. Sundays are my favorite day of the week, so I'm sure that's a common thing for everyone. So if you're out and about and you're watching a replay, I appreciate that. Or if you're out and you're about and you have me in your earbuds or whatever, I appreciate that too. So today it's as usual going to be kind of a little bit all over the place, but definitely want to talk about TNA. I was at the live show on Thursday and then the tapings that they did on Friday, which not going to talk about what happened on Friday. I know just a little show here, but I just don't want to go over like any spoilers or anything like that. Just to try to keep that respectful or whatever. But overall, Friday, I'll say right now, you can definitely tell the difference between the live and the tape show, but I will give them so much credit because that shit flowed so well. It was a very compact show. I ended up getting there a little bit later. I got there like 7:15 and it started at 7. So I'm not sure exactly the first match or maybe two that I missed, but by the time I got there, well, whatever. I'm not gonna say who was out there. It's no big breaking news, but I will say though that they kept it flowing, like, just very well. The transition from match to match, even though it was a taped environment, it was very well done. It was kind of funny because Ryan Nemeth, obviously Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler's brother, was coming out every few segments or whatever, and he was doing the countdown for his big brother, Nick Nemeth returning because Nick has been suspended in TNA world. So it was funny because he went from like 22 to 18 to whatever, and then he was like, he's returning tomorrow. And it was just kind of funny because obviously, it's the same night. But everyone was really cool, and because there's always a few people in the fans that want to kind of point out the obvious when it's like, bro, like really? In regard to, oh, well, didn't you just say it was 18? How'd it go from 18 to 22 or whatever it was? That's like, bro, really? Come on. Like if you're here, you know what's going on. So like, don't be that person. Um, but overall, I'll say TNA fans as well. It is a different vibe than obviously like your WWE and of course AEW. But I would say it's actually a little bit more similar to WWE than anything else. But it was just a good time. Like the fans, there were, I guess, in the same regard to AEW. The a couple of my experiences, people were sharing knowledge, but it was just kind of like a welcoming environment too. Like and especially with Full Sail, it's a lot of locals. And the seating though, I'll say really quick, is fucking terrible. So shout out to all of you guys who were out there weekly for the NXT tapings and the shows airing from Full Sail because those bleachers are the hardest fucking bleachers I've ever sat on. Even my high school bleachers were not as uncomfortable as that shit. We had was plastic seating bleachers back in my day. These shits were hard wood, like just no give, no support, no nothing. And of course, you have no backing, which is fine. I don't mind that. It'll help me work on my posture. But bro, like that shit was so uncomfortable, and it was cold. Like I mean, cold for our standards, right, in our conditions. But man, like they need to do something about that. Like just add like a little layer, like a little cushion or something. Shit. But overall, like the setting itself was pretty cool, and I got a picture of. They have a really nice. It's kind of like a poster of the original NXT crew. So Paige was on there, and there's just like a whole bunch of different signatures. So I'm gonna post it to see. how many signatures we can pick out. It's right in between the restrooms. There's like this back wall, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, and then they were selling meet and greets. It was interesting seeing who they were selling meet and greets for. They had, of course, like Matt and Jeff Hardy, who were there both nights. Joe Hendry, all your usuals. They had Tessa Blanchard for night two, which I thought was pretty interesting. Because the reactions that she was getting, was uh not favorable to say the least. Long story short on that, you know what I mean? But I will say it got to be a little less heated on night two, but on night two, I will say it was definitely a different type of, shout out to Kelly in the back. It was a different type of mixture, I would say, on Friday night than it was on Thursday. Thursday, you could definitely tell it was more of your diehard, your loud, your rambunctious fans, like the ones who like people like me, like who sit there and like really like love wrestling and enjoy that shit and are really passionate about it. Whereas night two was more of like a family type thing. It was on a Friday night. It was easier for the kids to go to. You know what I mean? Like they could stay out a little bit later. So but night two was still, you still had damn near all the same talent on night two that you did on night one. I think, yeah, everyone, even the NXT stars. So yeah, it was just a different type of influx on night two. So I think that had a lot to do with the reactions on night two, which can turn out to visually be a good thing, but we'll see what they end up doing with Tessa going forward. She's definitely a sensitive subject one way or another. I've seen a lot of different types of comments on just on the clips that I posted here, which I was not expecting. Um, so yeah, and like I said yesterday on One True Sport, again, shout out One True Sport. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. They're live every Saturday morning, hopefully around 10 a.m. Eastern, pending any login issues or anything like that, or streaming issues, which they try to stop your greatness, man, but you just gotta power through. Um, but yeah, it's gotten a lot of feedback, and I think it will continue to. It's gonna be very interesting to see how they handle it. And again, it's just one of those polarizing subjects. You know what I mean? Hold on, I'm gonna move this phone really quick. There we go, just so he wasn't tapping it on. Under my seat here, I have like one of those little plastic things, but for the for the chairs. But yeah, so we will talk a little bit more in depth on that. But I'm gonna pull up the comments here. What up, baby? What up? What up, man? Oh man, what up, bro? Well, I am happy you are here, and I hope things turn around for you, man. But yeah, bro, let's talk some wrestling. Um, Anything in particular that's wrestling wise, bro, that's been standing out to you or on your mind or anything like that? What up, Fernando? What up? What up, bro? What up? And Maria, what up, Maria? You said what a pleasant surprise to see you this afternoon. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. I appreciate you tuning in. Really, because again, like I said, I am last minute and random as fuck. So I appreciate you popping in when I do decide to hit that live button. So I appreciate you all for always joining me. Dan Gual, and I hope I'm saying that right. Dan Gual 10. Um, Correct me if I'm not. But you say, I think The Rock at this point is very picky with who he is going to wrestle. I think he will only return to face Roman one on one, and that is also a promise to Roman. He doesn't see Cody as worthy of one on one. Interesting. Okay. So do you think that, or by saying that, do you think, well, the direction and what Rock was essentially wanting from Cody, which we'll obviously be getting into, do you think he is doing that just to get Cody on his side, period, and never end up having it lead to a match 1-on-1? Yeah, let me know your thoughts, man. That's interesting. I think I view it slightly differently, but interested to know like your more thoughts in regards to that. Sai, what up, bro? What up, my friend? I actually just emailed you back. What up, my friend? Welcome. So yeah, we're gonna obviously talk about The Rock. I'm going to get into my thoughts on that and where I think we could end up be going overall. If you listened to me yesterday or if you've heard me in the past about The Rock, I have weird and mixed feelings when it comes to The Rock and overall, which I'm not gonna get fully in kind of relay because I feel like the majority of you here, at least right now, are pretty aware of what I said, especially yesterday, so I don't want to beat a dead horse there. But I do want to talk a little bit about AEW first as well, and just some interesting or some information that I think is interesting rather, and I had to talk about, and I want to hear your thoughts on as well. So, like I said, definitely I know you guys will, but if you're watching our replay, also I do want to know people's thoughts because I think this one was one of those stories where when it first came out, it definitely obviously got a lot of talk and hype and things like that. But I think it was very 50-50 too. It was one of those where you're split. And that is Tony Khan and Shane McMahon. The what was it? Was it October, September, October timeframe when John Moxley defeated Bryan Danielson and I'm not gonna say try to kill him, but he kind of tried to kill him. Put the glass bag over his head, all that stuff. Followed it up with essentially saying this isn't your company anymore to Tony Khan through Tony Schiavone, and there was alluding to a higher power, which was the whole thing, and it got me going because right after that there was pictures of, or not pictures, but a picture of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon that was just so happened to be released right in the good old internet. um, this is still just a comical picture. Let's see if I can pull that up again. But a lot of people shot it down immediately. Even I listened to PW Torch a lot, and even Wade Keller had was one of those who said that Shane is not going over to AEW. So I was still just one of those people that I know it's probably not going to happen, and it was most likely just something that got blew up out of proportion, and the whole releasing of the photo was just in that to generate hype and discussion and things like that. But man, it just really sparked a lot of what ifs in my brain, and why not? You know what I mean? That's just kind of my mindset with Elijah. I just kind of go with like, why not? Just fuck it. I think I might take. Let me know if you guys can hear my dog chewing on this bone because it bothers the hell out of me. It's that hammer, man, that I've referenced before. Let me know if you guys can hear it because I may end up taking it away regardless, but I definitely don't want it to annoy you guys. But um, yeah. So that was the beginning of it, and then it kind of died down. No, no one really put more stock into it, but I don't remember the exact time frame. Shortly after that, not too long, maybe like a month or so. I don't know the exact time frame, but the Young Bucks were spotted. Possibly, I don't even know the. Again, guys, don't come to me for exact specifics, right? Unless I can pull up the article right here and there. But the Young Bucks took a photo with our friend Shane McMahon again. So Shane had been making the rounds, right? Shane had popped up twice in a short time frame with the top people in AEW, right? So here's the picture. I'm gonna share my screen here in a minute. Oh, and it's Reddit. Oh, Wrestle Talk. Shout out to Wrestle Talk. It's so funny the first links that end up getting pulled up. All right. So this is the infamous photo that we all remember, right? Of course, with Shane McMahon, our guy Shane right there. Looking, and in my opinion, Tony, again, this is just me, my own opinion, my own 2 cents, my judgment, and I could be completely 100% wrong, and that's totally okay. My interpretation of their reactions is Tony is kind of look at that little smirk. Like look at that tiny little smirk. He's kind of like expecting it to happen and trying not to smirk too hard, but trying to be shocked as well. And then Shane is leaning over there like, really? What the fuck? Really? In regards to the person whoever took this picture. So that's just my 2 cents about the reactions of that. But I think this was again, this generated the buzz and the discussion that Tony Khan essentially won it, right? And AEW won it. But nothing really came of that. And it was really disappointing, in my opinion, because I thought that you really had an opportunity to have fun. And even if there was never any never any intention on bringing Shane in, and they genuinely did just run into each other. They being Tony Khan and Shane McMahon just ran into each other in a Texas airport and decided to sit down and have a chat. I think you still could have had fun with it, man. You still could have done a little bit more, and I don't know, just and maybe that would have been, counterproductive, and maybe I'd have been saying the exact, saying the opposite, like don't get people's hopes up. But I think by you and by that photo being released, you can't release that photo and then not have people speculating, right? And not have even a small percentage of people, which is me, being, like, as you could say, like those the crazy aluminum hat wearing people, right? Like, if that's what you want to call it, it's like the crazy people out there who did buy in, like, maybe there is a small possibility that Shane could come in at some point. Um, and I wanted to pull up. We'll go with this one. Here is Shane with our favorite Buckaroos, the Young Bucks. And again, that's actually a really great photo. He looks great there. That's actually a really great photo of all of them. Very, very good quality. They just all look great. So it's just a shame, in my opinion. It's just a shame that nothing came. I just noticed Nick's shirt, the Ninja Turtle. Nothing came to fruition of this, and they ended up steering away from the higher power talk and ended up going in a different direction, which is still not 100% really clear. We know John Moxley is mad at AEW as a whole and wants to change the company, and it was trying to take out people who weren't taking it seriously. But it's just still kind of convoluted, which we're not going to get into right here because I just don't want to get that frustrated right now. um, and there's just so much to get into, right? With that, like even just it's so tempting, but it's such a shame. But I bring all this up again because there was a little bit of an update, which I thought was pretty comical. If what was relayed is even remotely true. So, and you guys have probably already heard it by now. I just heard it earlier today. So I was like, what the fuck? But news has it, per Fightful Select, and I'm reading this from Reddit, or else I would tag Fightful Select, but I don't have access to that link. And this is just what Reddit had posted. So they said, per Fightful Select, more details on what happened with Tony Khan and Shane McMahon. And I actually saw a video on it earlier, so I may see if I can throw that video in there in the notes as well. But it says a summary of the article. A source could not confirm if Shane McMahon requested equity in AEW, but stated he showed interest in running the company. Shane was reportedly unfamiliar with AEW's product and business module, and Tony Khan did not take the proposal seriously and may have seen it as a joke. Shane did not take being. Oh, okay, so I don't like this synopsis. Let me see if I can find more information. Because the information that I heard, yeah, it was from. So I don't know if you guys listened to. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm going to read it from this article, which is from WrestlingInc.com by Ella J. So I will definitely throw this in the show notes here. Okay. And this is where I heard it from. So that synopsis is actually. They need to redo that synopsis because that misses a whole bunch of information. So, and this is from Jonathan Coachman, apparently. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. I don't know where that title is coming from. It's kind of weird. When I was going to share it, it says something about like wrestlers being worse off, which has nothing to do with the article here, so I don't know what it was referring to. But The article starts off, well, the title is Jonathan Coachman, AEW's Tony Khan ghosted, quote unquote, Shane McMahon after bombshell meeting. So, of course, that meeting was the one that we were just referring to in Texas. Our guy, Shano, starts off by saying last summer, AEW CEO Tony Khan and Shane McMahon, son of former WWE CEO Vince McMahon, met in the Arlington, Texas airport to talk about professional wrestling. According to former WWE broadcaster Jonathan Coachman, the coach, if you know, you know, man, that's crazy how long ago that was. God, what a landscape it was back then. Shane made an enormous request to Khan in that conversation as well, causing the latter to cut off contract in the aftermath, or contact rather, sorry, in the aftermath. Quote, I have it on good authority that Shane McMahon asked for the world, Coachman said on the Coach and Bro show. He asked for equity in the company and he asked to come in and run the entire show. It was probably the first time that I said to myself, I actually agree with Tony Khan ghosting him because Tony ghosted Shane. It wasn't the other way around. And the fact that Shane was at the Super Bowl with his dad, it's like he can't figure out what he wants to do. And then this is what the Reddit article is referring to, I guess. Fightful Select has since provided additional details on the McMahon Khan meeting, noting that while they couldn't confirm Shane's alleged desire for equity, a source close to him believes he did want to run AEW, despite his lack of knowledge on the AEW product and its business model. Like Coachman's claim, that same source also indicates that Khan did not speak with Shane after their airport-based discussion, while adding that Shane didn't seem offended by Khan's lack of follow-up. I'm chuckling, and I'll get to that in a second. According to Fightful, Shane and AEW will not be doing extensive business together at this point, though a cameo appearance isn't ruled out. The outlet further notes that there was never an expansive plan for the former WWE executive to appear on AEW television or be involved in an official capacity. Um, that ad really almost cut that off, but it says Shane's last WWE appearance came at WrestleMania 39, in which an impromptu match against The Miz led to a torn quad and rapper Snoop Dogg stepping in as his replacement. Jesus, what a way to go out. So yeah, I chuckled because, and again, I really fuck with my guy Tony Khan, you know, but it seems to be a common thread that he just doesn't get back to people, or people just don't hear back from him, or they just don't know what's going on, or they just don't know like why they're not being used or something. And it's not good, you know, but it just makes me chuckle because at my job, they were literally just talking last week at this meeting that I went to, that the number one complaint that customers have are people not getting back to them and not getting a callback or a response. And that's why it made me chuckle because it's literally that, like, and again, I guess Shane isn't upset because, and Shane's fine, right? Like, Shane does not need the money. Shane does not need the job. He is fine doing whatever he's doing, obviously, right? Or he would have made more of an attempt to get involved with something at this point or create something. But it's just funny that, let me change this because these ads are gonna drive me nuts. But it's just funny that that's just the common thread, that people just don't hear back from Tony. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting that we got a little bit more information as to what the original, or I guess not even the original, that's incorrect, but what the plan, at least on one side, potentially was, and that being on the Shane side. And I think it's interesting that we have information potentially on what Shane was looking for, right? And if he did want equity in the company, and to essentially run the company, which I think kind of reminds me of what I believe it was Paul Heyman, right? Yeah, Paul Heyman wanted to do with TNA back, I don't even remember the year, with Dixie Carter, when he wanted to go in there and be like, look, like I'll take the reins, but I need to have like full control, right? I need to come in here and do this. Not saying that Paul wanted equity or anything like that, as apparently Shane wanted. If again, and this is all, if all this is even a fraction true, right? Just going off of that what if situation, if it was, that he it and I kind of see it on both sides, right? But that's what Shane wanted, right? And I don't blame him. If I'm Shane and I am pretty much putting my name not on the line, but I'm potentially jeopardizing and putting just a bad taste in WWE's and Triple H's and, and everyone's in mouth with him going to the competition, right? And really not saying a fuck you, but really just making a statement like, yo, like apparently y'all didn't want me in WWE, so I'm over here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you what good I can do and what changes I can make and how I can improve the product, blah blah blah. But he needs the freedom to do so. And I can get if you're someone with Shane McMahon's name power, right? Not even saying he's the best fit for that role and it would even be the best idea, but if you're him, like I can see why he would want that, right? Like I'm not gonna probably want to be if I'm Shane McMahon, I'm not gonna want to risk damaging and straining rather my name and my relationship by going over here to AEW and without being able to truly have freedom to do what I want to do. Because if I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be handcuffed, then what's the point? Like I'm not just giving you my name. I'm not just like licensing my name type thing. So I get why he would request that, right? But on the same token, on the flip side, rather, yeah, on the flip side of the token, if I'm Tony Khan, I would probably say fuck that too, and probably couldn't think of a better way than saying "fuck that" than saying "fuck that," so that's probably why he didn't call him back, so I understand that, because that would be my response. If I built this thing, and again, Tony Khan had a lot of help, right? The Young Bucks, Kenny, Cody, all that, but financing wise and really being the backbone and being the whole structure of AEW financially, putting your name on the line, getting the TV deals, putting your name out there, right? And reputation and everything that all the resources and everything that Tony Khan has invested into AEW and the company and the brand and what he's done over the past almost 6 years now. If I had a Shane McMahon coming over, a McMahon period, especially a McMahon wanting to have equity in my company, I would say fuck that. You know what I mean? Especially if it's like equity, right? It's going to be a certain percentage. And to me, it would depend, possibly. Let me maybe rephrase that too. It depends on the amount of percentage that he wanted, right? If we're talking like 5, 10%, you're still gonna have final say so, right? Like you're still the Vince McMahon. Like you're still not gonna have any challenge prior, right? You're still not gonna have any challengers. You're still gonna be able to do what you want to do. But if he's talking like 50-50 or majority or anything like that, then that's when I would be like, I don't know what else to say than fuck that. So I'm just not gonna call back. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be rude. But yo, like if he's just talking minimal 5, 10% and you don't have any other majority shareholders or well, not even shareholders because you don't have shareholders, but majority ownership, right? Or any other ownership besides his father, I think it is. But we don't, and again, we don't know because it's a private company. But if there's nothing really preventing you from doing that and it's not really going to be that big of a deal, then why not? It may sound crazy. And again, like there's a whole lot of money on the line, and I get why you probably wouldn't want to. And I'm not saying just why not just fucking here, take a piece. But depending on what he was truly looking for, and if it was equity in the sense of, yes, like owner, like a portion of the ownership of AEW, I would highly question that just red flag automatically, and then major burning or like scorching on fire flag, depending on what the percentage actually is. But yeah, like I would at least call him back and try to negotiate, right? At least try to see like, okay, like like maybe we can't do equity, but I can give you like something, I don't know, something. And then it should reaffirm too, and it should kind of be like a pat on the back or a good feeling, I guess. I don't know what other phrase to say, but it should just be a good feeling for Tony Khan that if and again to put this out there, this is all a what if, right? If all of this is true. But if Shane truly did want a piece of this and truly wanted to be invested and really dive into this, because again, I don't know Shane, but Shane, we have heard, didn't have the best ideas a lot of the times, right? But he was the nicer Shane. He he was a good businessman. Like do know that he did leave WWE, I forget the year, because of differences and creative differences and business differences with his father. And that's a big deal, you know, like he could have just skated on through and just been like, I'm good, man. Like I'll be an executive, I'll be whatever title you need me to be, then you get that check. I'm Gucci. You know what I mean? But he said fuck that and he went off and he did his own thing and he came back when he was ready to. And I've always respected Shane for that. Again, like I get, you know, like you already had the upper hand in a lot of areas, but the dude in my opinion, didn't necessarily take the easiest road either, so I respect that. Um, but the point I was getting at with Tony Khan, why he should feel good about that if this is true, is because Shane, someone the stature and the position of Shane McMahon and the knowledge that of Shane McMahon wanting to be involved with your company and potentially wanting to own a piece of your company should be a very rewarding and feeling for you and it's like a a sign of accomplishment, right? And I know that's not really it doesn't mean anything financially, right? So it really doesn't mean shit at the end of the day, or it doesn't add to your business necessarily, but I think it can because if Shane's idea and perception, at least at this point, whatever, however many months ago it was that yeah, like I can be down with getting involved, but I want to do this and this and I'm all I'm all in. Um that should have been a sign like, okay, like I'm doing the right thing, but I do just need help, right? And I do just need guidance, but I would never, if I was Tony Khan, give over 100% control or majority control or anything like that. So if that wasn't negotiable or anything like that, or he was completely gonna have to hand over the book, I can see why a dude was probably like, nah, like let me just not even call him back because again, what do I say nicely? But yeah, that's just the latest updates that we have there. I thought that was pretty interesting, and it just made me go back to think like what all this Death Rider story could have ended up being, and what it potentially could have originally like planned out to be, and it deviated. So what if maybe maybe we'll get more information in the future because I never really expected to get more information from it really at all. So I'm just happy that we got a little bit more of a platter, right? And this is, I think, like maybe this is maybe like the appetizer. So I think we make it the entree next. I feel like this information came out for a reason. Is kind of my thoughts on it too because it's so random in the time frame after all this was hot. To just now just kind of make its way out into the universe is very interesting to me. So we'll see. But shout out Canada Dry again. Looking for a sponsorship. I'm here. It's nice and crisp. Oh man, what up, wrestling old head? What up, bro? What up after morning? What up, what up? You say, do you think TK should have ghosted Shane McMahon completely or redirect negotiations and see if Shane could do some advisor role? Yeah, so it kind of hit on what I was just referring to there. Yeah, like I think again, if Shane is willing to negotiate, then 100% negotiate and see get whatever you can out of Shane, right? And get because the so obviously Shane's gonna start in this negotiation with anything, right? Like if you're gonna put something on sale, in this case, say Shane is selling himself, he's gonna, you know, like you're gonna list like a vehicle for instance, right? If you're posting shit on the marketplace, you're like, all right, I listed at 5 grand. You expect someone to come back and be like, well, I can give you like, depending on what it is, right? I'll give you like 4 grand or 4,500. And then you can be like, okay, cool, depending on how quickly you want to get rid of it, or you negotiate, right? And like that's the whole point with the majority of shit in life, right? So I think Shane, especially too, with him being the businessman that he is, like I don't think he would have just made a one-sided offer and been like, this is what I'll do. This is the only thing I like. This is the only way I'll come in, take it or leave it. And if so, then again, props to Tony Khan for that as well, because I'd have been like, no, fuck that again. Like, no, like you're not telling me what you're gonna come in and do with my company. Like, again, like it's almost like a privilege coming into the company, right? Like again, not saying like AEW is in the best of places right now, but two, right? Shane, you want to come here for a reason, right? So don't just come in here and play hardball or anything like that. Like, no, like if you're willing to negotiate and you're willing to maybe change your role, and obviously that will change the pay and the stakes and things like that, then hell yeah. But if Shane wasn't willing to negotiate at all and he just wanted to come in and pretty much run shit and his way or no way, right? Then I don't blame Tony at all, really, because I wouldn't do that either. Like again, again, we've all gone down the road so many times that AEW isn't in the best place creatively right now, and that's fine, right? I will say they have done a string of better shows lately, and I think I didn't see the whole collision. I fell asleep the other night from work, but it was last night. But I really love the follow up from Mariah May and Tony Storm, right? And there's a good amount of things that they're doing well, in my opinion, right now. So I will say that I think things are improving. But it is it where it was when it was the hottest? No, but that's to be expected with everything, right? Like everything comes and goes in waves. So if I'm Tony Khan, no, like I am just because like we're not at the hottest right now, like I'm not gonna just like cave in and just be like, all right, no, like I take control. No, like come in, work with me, and if not, sorry about it, man. Like whatever, like good luck to you. Best of luck in your future endeavors type shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. So I don't necessarily blame him at all. I am going to step away really quick though and grab this bone from her because it's gonna drive me nuts. Alright, I am back. Sorry about that, but it was just gonna drive me nuts. I feel so bad, man, because they're not doing anything wrong, but shit drives me nuts. Like I said before, like there'll be days I'm sitting here working and it'll be just be quiet or whatever, and all I hear is them just chewing on this hammer that they have, and it's just I'm like, please go in the other room. Like, and it's sad because like I want them right here, but just that fucking hammer, man. Ugh. But yeah, so that is the AEW update. Let me see these ads, bro. And they like run videos. You say, I see where you're coming from. I also feel TK may be a bit paranoid with negotiating with someone who is so close to WWE as Shane is, and if he is, I'm sure he has tapped Billy Gunn's phone. Yeah, dude, facts. Facts for sure. And again, like that's a very valid concern too, right? But I mean, I'm sure in their contract he would have some type of clause or statement stating that like all of this shit like is for your eyes only. Like you don't be like we're not sitting here writing stories, then you're on the phone with Stephanie or Shane or Triple H, you know, like yo, this is what we're doing, da da da. Like that would be a huge conflict, right? And just so many different things. So I don't think Shane would ever do that, but I deliberately, but it's just too close for comfort, right? Like it's like Thanksgiving and like I just think of like Thanksgiving and like holiday dinners and shit. Like how would shit like that not come up? Or just like even just small talk, right? Or even not even as serious as like storylines or surprises or anything like that, but just overall atmosphere and are you happy there? And if Shane's not happy one day, like if that gets brought up and just like there's just so many different little things like that. And again, it's one of those situations where it's like how is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Is I don't know why these sayings just sit here and come to me, but is it really though, is it worth it? So I think at the end of the day, again, without knowing specifics, I don't necessarily blame Tony, but man, I think it could have been fun as fuck to have him come in there. So I hope we do get more information in the future, just to kind of get a better picture. But I'm just happy we got that information. Period. Um, what up, bro? What up? What up? How you doing, man? You said figured I'd join while playing some God of War. Good, man. Oh, how is that going? How is that? God of War, man. Bro, I haven't thought about God of War in a minute. How are you doing, bro? Lucifer sees your pain. How you doing, man? I appreciate you popping in. Oh man. But yeah, I see Johnny. What up, Johnny? I see you in here too. You said Canada dry only like Canadian people. Hey, but I like Canadian people, so that should count, right? Like I love Canada. It, within the next year ish, I am definitely going to make it a point to go up to and visit Canada. It's always been on, I guess, my bucket list, but I really want to, and I should have tried to like look into it for the chamber. But I did honestly like I learned with what was it, Blood and Guts with the EW that going to shows when it's a cage, like a cell, or even just a cage match, period. But especially when it's a bigger structure like a Hell in a Cell or an Elimination Chamber, it's really hard to see live, and you end up watching the screen. So unless you have like a really solid card prior, it's just really like takes away from the main event because you have to go home and end up rewatching it to see a lot of it anyway, or see shit that you missed. So I really that's why I wasn't like if it was a different pay per view, I probably would have maybe looked into it a little bit more. But I really want to go up to Canada. Have any of you guys been to Canada? Um, I hear there's a lot of changes going on up there too. Man, the fucking world is just there's so many changes going on everywhere in the government, and yeah, it's just crazy. But switching over to TNA really quick, I do want to just run through not the whole card here on Thursday's episode, but I do want to touch on obviously a few things. Um, Joe Hendry, man, this guy, I okay. So I posted on my channel here. It was he was setting up in production was setting up obviously prior to the show going live for the championship celebration, right? They had a chair in the ring and they had this little stand with like a black like I guess blanket or carpet or whatever over it, not carpet, but this a black robe or blanket, whatever it is, over is like a velvet type thing. But just blanket did I felt I didn't give it enough credit. But obviously to set up for the championship and to be the display and to add to the prestige of where the championship title is supposed to sit. So it's maybe like 5 minutes, maybe a couple, maybe five, give or take a minute or 2 minutes before the show is going to go live. And this is, of course, on Thursday. And we're all sitting there, and Joe Hendry's music hits. Everyone gets excited, starts singing, cool beans. He does his wave, all that good stuff, gets into the ring, and he's talking to it's like two guys from production in the ring, and he's talking to them, and I don't know obviously exactly who said what, but you can tell Joe looks at the stand where the title with the black blanket was supposed to sit at, and they realize, oh shit, the title. He didn't bring out the title. Like no one, I don't know if he forgot the title or if they were supposed to bring the title out because they were setting up the stage and everything or what. I would imagine he was supposed to bring it out because he would have walked out with the championship. But they realized that he does not have the championship. And at this point, I don't know the exact time because obviously no one was expecting it. And I wasn't expecting it either. I was just like stoked to see his entrance. So he realizes it and they're like and I don't know this for certain, but they probably said, "Oh shit!" And he hauls ass to the backstage, bro. And the entire time his music is still playing, so you just see him like that. He realizes it, and then he runs up the ramp, and then he's just gone for I don't know, maybe a minute max. Like I don't know. Like this dude, like I don't know if his locker room is like right near the front or he just left it somewhere nearby, but or if I don't know how far he had to go to get the championship, but my dude hauled ass and came back on. The music did end up stop playing, and like this one woman said like embarrassing or whatever, but to me it wasn't embarrassing at all. I'll get to why in a second, but next thing you know, like I said, maybe within a minute, he comes back out with the title, and everyone just like laughed it off, right? And fans started chanting, "We still believe" or some shit. The only thing people were bummed by was that he didn't redo his entrance, and he didn't do another entrance right there, which I think just would have people would have just died laughing. So maybe that's why, because just it was a cool moment already. So probably didn't want people to just kind of laugh it up even more. But to me, and then it led to the show beginning and the debut of the Colones. First of all, Carlito's brothers. Um, what were their names? Epico and I forget their names in WWE, but it was yeah, it was Primo and Epico, right? But now they're Eddie and Orlando Colon, and I felt bad for him because a lot of times people were chanting, "Where's Carlito?" or "We want Carlito" or some shit. But it was kind of funny, and they were champs with it. Like they didn't take it personally. It didn't seem at least. But so we got a surprise debut of the Clones first, which I completely was not expecting at all. But then we got the surprise debut of Elijah. And I think Kevin Owens deserves an apology from everyone because he was right the entire time. This fucker just has so many siblings or twins. It's just insane, right? We had Ezekiel, I'm sorry, we had Elias, then we had Ezekiel, now we have Elijah. Who else is next? Is my question. We don't know how deep this family runs. We're talking about like Roman Reigns in the bloodline, like bro, like 5, 10 years from now, we're gonna be talking about the bloodline of Elias and how deep this goes. And we could be talking generations, like years from now, long years from now, when I'm long gone. If this, I'm assuming, well, depending on how technology is in the future, if this clip and then this stream is still out there, who knows how many variations of Elias and generations period we'll have of him. So shout out to them. And again, Kevin Owens was right. That's all I'm gonna say. Kevin is just seems to be right about a lot of shit, which is quite interesting. We're not gonna deviate because you guys know me. I can ramble on and on. But I will say, I cannot move on before referencing and at least acknowledging rather that Joe Hendry had made a song about his time in the Rumble, which is what the clones ended up interrupting, which is pretty cute. And it was pretty clever the rhymes that he made. I don't know if it's listed here word for word, no, but like I said, I did post a video, not a plug or anything, but if you want to check it out, go for it if you didn't see Impact. But yeah, I was again that pretty much dropped at the segment because Santino Morello came out and set up a tag match for the main event. I was surprised to see Elijah, and the dude is just fucking ripped. It's insane. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with him going forward though. I think it's very interesting, and I was thinking about that during the tag match itself. It's really interesting to or it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do with him going forward, how heavy they push him, where they view him at on the card. Is it gonna be challenging Joe Hendry soon? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily see that, but I don't really know what you do with him, and I don't know. Like, I'm not against it, but it's gonna be very curious to see how they view him and his spot on the card and just where he goes from here, period. So I'll just say I was not expecting it at all, at all. But Leon Slater, he was a pleasant surprise as well. I think no, I know I've been following him on Twitter. I forget what clip I saw, probably within like 6 months to a year or so ago. Somewhere from that he was doing in the UK, obviously, and I was just like, yo, like this dude's pretty nice, and it was cool to see him live, and they are really taking him seriously, or they plan to. It seems he was involved with some big names on Friday night in particular, so that would be really cool for that to air and him to kind of get his love and his shine. But he impressed, man. The fans really got behind him, so it's gonna be really cool to see his growth. And I think he could be very similar to like a Wesley. And it's not saying like Wesley's even hit his prime or his peak or anything like that. Like Wesley still has years and years and years to go and growth, but he just reminds me of that type of dynamic wrestler where like he kind of fits in with everyone and it kind of meshes into a lot of different styles. So it's gonna be fun to see how he grows and where he goes from. But man, I will say too, the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, they're teaming up with Ace Austin. Shout out to Bay, Chris Bay. It's bittersweet, man, seeing Ace Austin's entrance and the video package with Bay on there as well. Still, obviously they're not gonna remove him. But just seeing it, it's kind of bittersweet, man. You know, like it's cool seeing him there, but it makes you sad, man. But he did post an update. I'm sure everyone has seen, maybe like a week or two ago, that he has taken his first couple steps again, and he's able to move around like that. So he's making great progress, but it just really puts into perspective too, and like reminds me, I'll just speak for myself, like damn, like the simplest shit like can change your life, man. If one little thing goes wrong on the easiest thing, right? And these people go out there and risk their lives every match and every night, right? But by doing the simplest shit and the craziest shit, it's just, man, like you just sometimes forget like how much of at risk they are and how much of a professional they need to be and how good at what they do they really are. Like it just sometimes moments like that just really put it into perspective for me too. And just not that I didn't have it prior, but it just kind of reminds you of it. Like, man, like you just never know, you know, and that's with anything in life, really. But just it's crazy. But I bring up Ace Austin obviously because he, like I said, was they have a three-man tag now, a three-way tag that they're doing now, teaming up with the Rascals, Trey McGill, and Zachary Wentz. And Zachary Wentz, man, like he's so crisp and so smooth in the ring. I'm pretty certain he started off the tag match, and or I don't think if he didn't start it, he was tagged in very quickly after it. And his transitions, dude, like the second he got in, I was like, oh, this is gonna be nice. He's just so smooth. He reminds me almost like a younger Will Ospreay in the sense that he just makes the craziest moves look so simple. And almost like, yo, like what? You just did like it's higher than a 450. Like you just did like all these fucking flips and shit. And like you just landed on your feet and you're just interacting with us now, you're slapping hands and shit. And it's like, bro, like what? If I bend down to pick something up too quick, I throw out my back. And like you're sitting there doing all these flips and you just land and like it's nothing. And I just like even just like a simple taking a clothesline, like the way they like just do a backflip and like just really sell it and like really just get into it. Like it just, I don't know, man. Seeing shit live too, and the closer you are, you get a better perspective. Obviously, with the full sale setup, it's you can have general admission seats and be right there, which I love. But it just puts you in a different perspective again, and it just really points out like the artistry that these people perform. And you know, it's on the flip side when they miss shit, like it's pretty obvious too. But that's a small percentage, especially when you have pros. And I'm not even saying like this match, just in general, right? But like this match flows. So it's them versus Tyson DuPont and Ig- Tyreek Igwe. I don't know. I don't know how to say his name. I was new to this tag team, to be honest with you, with Wesley. Again, I'm getting more into NXT and TNA and all this, but I was blown away by these dudes. They are big as fuck. Like, what? Like, let me see if I can pull it up a picture of these guys. Because these dudes came out and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, I I don't know where I've been, but like, bro, I'm here now. Trying to pull up a bit. Yo, but Tyreek, especially though, like he's just so fucking wide. Like, all right, here's a good picture. Cool. Tyson's kind of shocked, but all right, I'm gonna share my screen because they deserve to be shown. Look how big these fuckers are, man. Like, look at this dude. If that's a YouTube clip, I'm not gonna play that. But look at this dude. Look at this dude right here. Fucking insane, bro. Insane. Hold on. Tyreek Igwe, I think his name is. How you pronounce it? Here it is. Here he is, bro. Look at this. Look at this dude, y'all. This guy came out and I lost my mind. Wow. I have I am not going to disrespect his name and butcher that, but props to him. He is currently working for obviously for WWE and TNA on NXT brand. He's currently a member of Team CNT. Da, da, da. He's a former track and field athlete specializing in throwing events. Yeah, I'm surprised the dude didn't play football. What? How the fuck did he not play football? How the fuck did he not play football? Wow. Wow. I'm shocked by that, but hey, whatevs. You'll learn something new every day. But yeah, so I was just super fucking impressed with these dudes, and I want to see more of them. It's insane. Like, and they can move, man. Like, and I think it's just a fun dynamic seeing them and Wesley because it's like big man and little man, but they really just complement each other's difference in styles too. Obviously, you have the strength and the power with the tag team, and then you have the agility with Lee. So props to them. That's a very good trio, and whoever's idea that was, they did a great job with that. And I think the interactions that Wesley has with the Rascals and Ace Austin is a good thing for Wesley because it'll help him with his eventual transition onto the main roster. Um, just with his size, like that's only the main concern right there. But I think they could really do something with him in the future, man, if they really accentuate the positives with him, right? But the way he connects with the fans and the way he really gets them to boo him, because I remember when he first turned heel, Wesley, I was like, or yeah, when he first turned heel on the Rascals, I was like, what are they doing? Like, no, no, like this dude, like no one is gonna want to boo this guy. It's not gonna be believable. Um, and he's really grown into it. I really dig that he cut his hair, changes like that. Like it really reminds you and it becomes distinct and it really emphasizes the change. So I appreciate little things like that. So yeah, like I was just really impressed with them all around, and fucking Ace Austin too, bro, like, this lady, she this lady had a thing for him because she was like, "Yo," she said, "Yo," but she was like, "Wow, he does not miss leg day, does he?" Like, talking to her friend, and her husband was sitting right on the other side of her. He was cool, like, they were actually it sounded like they were a really cool, like, group of people, but, they were just like she was just so infatuated with him, and, like, she said a couple other things, she was like, "He is actually pretty cute. I love his hair with his headband. I really think he's just really cute." And I was like, "I bet you do, man. I bet you do." But it was cool. Like it's for me again, like that's why I love doing shows like this too, because it's fun to see and hear other people's reactions. But you could tell like she was definitely that fan where she's there because her husband likes it. But it was even surprising too because they were kind of dressed up. They're kind of like businessy type people, and I don't know, like they're just businessy type people. But the husband really knew a lot. Like he knew a lot of this. He knew pretty much everything. He knew the backstory of why people were booing Tessa. Like any question that the husband had or the wife had, like he knew. Um, and he was really nice too. The bleachers again, fucking another reason why the bleachers were terrible. Uh, Underneath of the seat of the actual wooden ledge that you're sitting on, there's no backing behind your feet. So if you put your purse or your bag or something down on the where your feet are, or if you think that, oh, there's got to be a backing there, because why wouldn't there be? Your shit falls underneath the bleachers. So her bag fell, so he had to go get it. And he didn't even like hesitate. She said, "Oh no, honey, my bag fell." Dude gets up and he was like, "Honey, do you want a drink as well?" And I'm just like, that guy Smart man. Smart man. Um, but he was pretty cool. But getting back to it, wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, getting back to it though, she was just a big fan of Ace Austin, and I'm happy that they're still doing with something with Ace Austin and not just getting him or letting him get lost in the shuffle, which TNA normally isn't. That's not really an issue for them. So props to them for that too. We did have okay, yeah, we did have. I couldn't remember as well, but this was on the Thursday night show. We had AJ Francis and KC Navarro come out first class, of course, and they were doing it's called it's something the penthouse, first class penthouse, of course. How could I forget the name? But he was joking and teasing that it was gonna he was gonna have like a phenomenal guest or something, and he used a couple other like slogans, I guess, for AJ Styles, and to introduce the first guest, and he said AJ Francis. And the the crowd hated that, which I thought was just so good. But they had I'm pretty certain it was yes. So they had a table set up nearby with like champagne and stuff, and they had I think like maybe four different women out there, but one of them was fucking Gabby AF from Busted Open Radio. If you guys have or used to listen to that show, I don't know how long it's been now since she's not been on the show, but maybe a year or so ago, she was one of the producers on there, and she ended up becoming. I don't think she was a fan prior to working for Busted Open, but then she became a fan, and then she just really ended up getting like involved in like the show itself on Busted Open, and she ended up having her own segment, which and I just really started enjoying hearing her takes and hearing her thoughts coming from a newer fan. I don't remember if she had never watched wrestling in the past or if she had a little bit and then got out of it. I don't remember exactly, but they ended up letting her go from Busted Open, which I thought was just a dumb move, and I still think it's a dumb move. But and I haven't really listened to them much since, but I enjoy Dave LaGreca. I really enjoy his takes, his rants and shit. He's a great guy, and he follows the show on Twitter, guys. He follows us, so shout out to Dave. But I think that before I get back to that, but Gabby was one of the 4 women up there, and I'm so pissed I missed it or I didn't get it on video because after the segment aired and everyone was, like, wrapping up and, like, the cameras and stuff, they gone into commercial and everyone's going to the back, the obviously, production came out to grab the table, and Gabby was, like, pouring like, she had poured, I think, one of the champagne glasses into like hers to like make no alcohol abuse, and then like she takes the glass and then she goes back in and she grabs the bottle, and I was just like, fuck yeah, girl, like like you can't leave the bottle behind. So it was great, it was really cool seeing her. Oh well, I obviously didn't see her. Oh well, I saw her, but I didn't like get to say hi or anything like that. But I just thought it was really cool, and I'm not sure who the other 3, women were, I didn't see them in particular, but once I saw her at the end, I was like, "Is that?" And I was like, "Oh, shit, it was." So, that was really cool, and shout out to her, man, like, for getting the opportunity to do that and to be on TNA and seeing her still follow wrestling, and she has her own, channel here on YouTube. I actually subscribed. I didn't even realize that until maybe a month or 2 ago, and she did a and actually, she was one of the people, who gave me the idea to do a watch along. She was doing one, and I that was one of the first ones I had ever watched, surprisingly enough, and it was pretty cool. So, that was one of the places where I got the idea to even do one at, and then when you guys had mentioned it, I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Which we will, I'm not well, I haven't. But I'm not sure how many of you guys watched the show yesterday over on One True Sport, but I was entertaining the idea of doing a watch along for the Elimination Chamber, and I will be. So if you would like to watch along, watch the well, obviously I can't stream the video, but if you want to listen to the audio feed with me and just kind of watch along with us here, definitely feel free, and you are more than welcome to do so. Very excited to do so. I'm going to now that I know exactly how to do it. Not saying it's gonna be perfect, but last for the Rumble when I did it, I didn't even know how to do it at all. So I have a little bit better of an idea of how to do so now, and yeah. So if you would be interested in popping over, definitely feel free. If you want to watch it on replay, go for it. If it's not something you like to do because you just like to watch the event yourself, I totally get it because that's why I never really been one to seek out watch alongs at all. Well, first I didn't even know it was really a thing, and then once I realized it was a thing, I was like, I just I don't know, because I like to listen to other things. Like I'm that person where depending on what it is, like I like to watch something and then sometimes listen to something too. But it's just how my brain works. But I get where a lot of people don't like to do that either. So no pressure. Be here if you want. I'm gonna pull up the chat here in a second. But going through a couple more things here. In the match between, speaking of Leon Slater, between him and JDC would just like hit the fuck out of Leon Slater with a kendo stick. He broke the kendo stick over Slater's back, dude. It was just fucking gnarly. Slater got him back though because JDC ended up coming out a few more times between Thursday and Friday, and his back was just welted, man. Like you could tell they really just beat the shit out of each other. So props to them for that. But we did end up, like I said, getting an appearance from Tessa Blanchard. She made her entrance, and the second people realized that Blanchard was coming out, they were not a fan, to say the very least. She got a lot of different variation of chants. She got shut the fuck up. She's a racist. Um, one was Tessa, we're coming for you, which if you know, you know. So yeah, there was a lot of different variations. Oh, another one was Tessa the door and pointing to the back. Just that one kind of cracked me up because at first I was like, "Oh my god, what are they calling this woman?" But then once I realized they were saying Tessa the door and then they were pointing to the back, I felt much better because I was like, "All right, like I get it, but like okay, like because there's kids, you know, here, but like I totally get it. I now that it was Tessa the door, understand." So yeah, I posted that on the video on that on my channel here as well. But yeah, there. Oh, please don't wrestle was one. I think please retire came out at one point as well. So yeah, she's getting a lot of love for her return in TNA. I talked about it yesterday over on One True Sport, but part of me is like, if you're TNA, like you brought her back, so like, what can you expect? On the other hand, it's like kudos to them for trying and bringing her back and seeing how this is gonna go. And whether you want to give her credit or you think it makes her more of an arrogant asshole or whatever, she is embracing this shit. That's why I posted the clip. Like I don't, because I didn't know exactly at what point it stopped on TV, but she is embracing the heat and the hatred, and she just, it's just a very odd feeling and a very not uncomfortable for me in that sense, but a very I don't even know the word, just odd like atmosphere to be in because in a lot of ways too, like it's not my place to really comment on as much and in that regard, but and because there's two sides to the coin, right? Taking that portion of why people despise her and putting that to the left side, if we go to the right side of the coin, another reason why people are not a fan of her is because of what she did in TNA and how she ended up getting fired from TNA before news of what she had said and done behind the scenes elsewhere and you know everything that we all know at this point. She apparently didn't want to send in video clips or pretty much work during the pandemic. She didn't want to send in any like anything. Like I think they just wanted her to send in like to record a couple of videos or whatever and send it in being the champion and she didn't. So they fired her and they had to I'm pretty certain they had to like ship the title from her, if I'm not mistaken. Which is a shame because let me pull it up here. She was obviously the first ever women's heavyweight champion. Heavyweight champion can including like in the men's division, you know, like period, heavyweight champion. So the fact that and again I referenced this yesterday, but it's just a fucking shame, man, that like it's gone down this way because watching her in the ring, She is so good. She is just so good in the ring, and it's just like, man, like, God, like, it just really it's just really upsetting, but I hope that she has changed, and I hope that whatever happened, and we do know, it's not even I hope, but we do know that she has made up with La Rosa Negra, I believe her name is. So if she has accepted her apology, then how it's kind of like a you can forgive but you don't forget type thing. Like it just depends on a lot, of where you like who you are as a person and what your views are and your morals are and what you want to do. So that's why, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, "Oh, you should forgive her and move on," or, "Oh, no, you have to hate her for the rest of your life." Like, that's on you to decide. I'm just gonna sit here and say, like, it's fucking perplexing when you're in the fans and you're in the audience sitting there and listening to everyone. But I wanted to pull up here exactly was she the ending of her championship reign. So yeah, alright, so at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view in January 12th, 2020, Blanchard defeated Sami Callihan to win the Impact World Championship, becoming the first woman in history to win the title. Blanchard made only one successful title defense against Taya Valkyrie, who was the second woman to challenge for the world title, also the first time to feature two women competing for the company's main championship. Her last match in TNA was taped on March 7, 2020, and aired on April 7, 2020. She teamed with Eddie Edwards for the Impact World Tag Team Championship against champions The North, which of course was Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, in a losing effort. After going on a leave of absence due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Blanchard departed Impact Wrestling on June 25th after her contract was terminated before it was set to expire on June 30th, which is only 5 days, which I don't think it's talked about a lot, but she was stripped of the Impact World Championship in the process. They don't really say why there, though. Let me see if they mention. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that her and Daga split up. Wow. The couple married in August. Obviously, I'm on Wikipedia, so take it for what you want. August 2020 and resided in Mexico. In January 2023, the couple released a public statement announcing their separation. Shit. Well, okay. Well, so they don't mention exactly what happened, but I'm pretty certain like TNA just wanted her to like send some videos in or some shit, and she just wasn't about it, or there's a particular reason why. So I don't know. Um, but it's just interesting being there. Is how I'll wrap up that thought because there's so much you can say. But we did obviously get obviously if you saw it a appearance from Cora Jade, which was very interesting as well. Her and Tessa will end up interacting, which is going to be interesting to see what that ends up being in the future. Um, but yeah, it's really cool too, just to see the different the different focus that each company has. And I will say that TNA definitely has a different focus on their women's division than almost any other company, and I think they take them more seriously than any other company, which is nice. It's pretty refreshing, and they position them differently and present them differently. So yeah. So I'm going to jump into the comments and then we're gonna wrap up here shortly, guys. But I appreciate y'all for jumping into the chat here and jumping onto the stream. Oh, but of course we do have to talk about The Rock a little bit more. And wanting Cody's soul. No, you did not. Sorry, kind of got lost in thought there. Um, where was it? Was it Nick? Nah, we haven't talked about The Rock yet, my friend. What up? What up? Yeah, Lucifer, all of them. Igor, Ember, the whole E family, dude. Everyone's there. D-Rock, what up? You say, I don't really understand the relationship between TNA and WWE NXT, how the former WWE contracts and TNA translate. It seems to be just a partnership, dude, primarily and just with the NXT brand in particular. And it's just kind of like they opened that door, right? I hate to even say that, but there's just a bridge. So certain talent can just if you're on NXT, you can and what or TNA is like just beating into the ground is you can cross the line and go from TNA into NXT and vice versa. So like that's why you're seeing Moose transition over, you've seen Joe Hendry and vice versa. But I think NXT needs to pick up the ball and pick up their slack and have more of their bigger names go over there, which they obviously are with Obafemi. But yeah, and I mean TNA is doing their part too by sitting the Hardys over next Tuesday. So that's crazy. What up, E? What up, bro? William Rivera, what up, man? You say happy Sunday. Can't wait for a Sunday chamber elimination match. It's going to be awesome. Or Saturday, rather. Saturday. Yes, man. And it's going to be a fun show for sure. But what up, E? What up, Johnny? I appreciate you guys for being in here. Justin, I see you, man. What up? What up? Brandon, what up, dude? What up? What up? I saw you in One True Sport yesterday, right? What up, man? You say why is The Rock facing a mid? Why is The Rock facing a mid carder in the main event? Cody Rhodes will always remain a mid card with mediocre wrestling and no charisma. Just my opinion. All right, bro, coming in strong. So we'll definitely talk about that. No, Nick, they're not. They're not. Well, maybe eventually, but they're not coming in. They're facing the No Quarter Catch crew first. But they potentially could end up facing Fraxium because they did have. I don't know if that was just something posted on Twitter, but Fraxium and the Hardys did interact. I just remember exactly where that was. But yeah, so to get into The Rock and Cody Rhodes, my goodness, guys. So The Rock is back, and again, I'm not going to get into my disdain for The Rock and disdain. It sounds crazy saying that, but you guys know if you know. And when I say disdain, it's just because I feel like, long story short of it, if you haven't heard before, just so you don't want to assume knowledge, but I hate the feeling that The Rock is coming in, so we need to stop what we're doing and abide by The Rock and things that have changed because of The Rock. Like and not even The Rock, just as himself, just anyone. Period. Like I just hate that connotation or that vibe where like you come in and the world stops because you're here. Like no, like we're all human. We all get dressed the same way. Like just because you make more money than someone else or you have more presence than someone else. Like and again, like I get it too, right? Like if you have The Rock and someone of that stature, you're going to want to present them because they do bring more business and more eyes and more revenue and all that shit. So, not stupid, right? Like, I get that, but I just hate the sense that the world is not revolving around him, but like the road to WrestleMania, we'll say, is solely depending on what he wants to do, and the storyline is depending on what he wants to do, and other storylines are based on what he's going to do. So that's where my irritation comes from, is what I'll say, and that's as a well, I'm not gonna say behind the scenes. That's just a solely character disdain, right? And I don't know Dwayne the person, right? I wish I did. I think that'd be pretty cool. But if he could be showing up and be like, okay, like where do you guys need me at? Like 100% team player, right? But what we have seen and even what he has said, like it doesn't 100% seem to be that way. So just look at last year. He thought he was going to come in and just take Cody Rhodes' spot. He learned that that wasn't the case. So that's just where my irritation for The Rock comes from, right? Is he fucking all the things that he says he is and all of the cliches and Yeah, of course, right? Like he's The Rock, like, and I don't even dislike The Rock. I think he's fucking great, but I just don't like how he's just so he just dominates, you know? Like his aura is so massive that like everything else is based off of him. That's what irritates me personally. So getting that out of the way, and just kind of setting that out there, I I was just like, what the fuck are we watching? Like, what is he saying? He wants Cody's soul. So gonna get into that and read what exactly The Rock went through with Cody because he went through about like 2, 3 different variations of characters as well too, right? Like he started off with like the corporate, like the Dwayne Johnson, right? Then he went into kind of good guy Rock and then bad guy Rock and then now he's the final boss, right? So a lot of different I'll just say variations. I'll stick with variations from good old Rocky that we got on Friday as well. And I will give credit though, at least he tried to, and you could tell a factor with this segment and something that they really wanted to accomplish or tried to accomplish was correcting course for what happened on January 6th on Netflix. So, and I think that's still just so jarring and just so mind blowing that he really went out there and him and Cody were BFFs and just Cody's response more than anything else is still what bothers me the most from that episode when Cody's just like slapping his leg like, "Oh, Rock, you're so funny, dude." Like, no, fuck that. Like he tried to ruin your dreams, right? Like he tried to be that guy and be that asshole to stop you from something that was rightfully yours, right? Like it's not even that you were trying to take like a shady path or you just so happened to be there. Like, no, like you worked your ass off, you won the rumble, you did what you needed to do to solidify your spot. And now this dude wants to come in and take your spot. No, fuck that. So and not to mention the beatdown that he gave him with the strap, Mama Rose, all of that. And now all of a sudden, the next time we see them, and okay, and before I even get to that, follow up on, and this is where I'll tie into kind of a little bit in a minute here, but after WrestleMania, after Cody won, The Rock and him had that segment where The Rock came out and, long story short, gave Cody something, right? Put something in Cody's hand. We don't know what it is. So I will give them benefit of the doubt in a sense, and I will let it play out that their friendship, in kind of like two parts, that their friendship was initiated and began off of whatever The Rock gave to Cody that night. And I think that really meant a lot to Cody, or that really was a driving force into a shift in their dynamic and their relationship with each other. And I think over the past year ish, less than a year, apparently they've obviously, according to Rock, have grown to become great friends. Their moms are great friends, right? Now they're sharing tequila together, which I'm not sure how what is American Wheatley or Wheatley Vodka would feel about Cody being all tequila heavy now, but whatever. That's I just always think about that. Like, really, like this dude literally has like Wheatley Vodka on his tour bus, and he's sitting there drinking Terramana tequila. Like I get it, but like, come on, bro. Like, at least be like, oh, I had my drink, you have yours. But like, come on. It just always stands out to me. But I so that's part one. I think the main thing with Cody is that first of all, the fact that he was just so happy-go-lucky with The Rock, but I think I say January 6th, but on the Netflix debut, I think that the main thing with that will tie this all together is Cody's response to The Rock at Elimination Chamber. I think Cody needs to take us back to the beatdown and back to the shit that The Rock put him through, the pain and the anguish that Cody felt and witnessed, that he felt obviously personally and physically, but that he witnessed with his mother, right? And the disrespect that The Rock showed towards his mother, and how you can just go from that to The Rock trying to prevent him from winning the championship to the disrespect, all of it, right? And then fast forward to the Monday night on Raw, or yeah, Monday Night Raw after Mania. Whatever The Rock gave him, Cody needs to tie that into it and really emphasize how that made him feel and how that changed all of that shit that The Rock did and how they became friends and how now they're BFFs essentially apparently and their moms are good friends and now The Rock is at a point where he feels comfortable enough to come out here and pretty much just profess his love or his want to love Cody and say that he being The Rock wants Cody to become his champion. And the fact that Ari Emanuel is the owner of WWE, but he says, "Oh, Rock, you're really the owner of WWE." And no, stop it. No, you're the owner. No, stop it. You're the owner of this $10 billion company. Whatever it is, multi-billion dollar company between, TKO, obviously UFC and all that bullshit. But so we need to wrap up the Cody part. We need an explanation from Cody. We need for Cody to tie it all together and to really emphasize and make us understand why our number one good guy is now best friends with the guy who tried to do all these terrible things to him and his family. So that's part one. And I think also what is it's pretty obvious here is what The Rock is trying to do, right? It's to me it's not even I don't understand like the outrage or like the questioning really because to me it's again pretty obvious. Like The Rock wants Cody to become his champion and Corporation 2.0 type shit, right? Which I think is fucking fascinating. And I wish we were maybe 3-ish years into Cody's run as a champion, and I wish we were at the point where the fans were starting to boo Cody, and it was at that point where it made sense because I feel like it would be so premature to pull the trigger on a Cody heel run. And I think that it could be like I feel like all this could be fucking fantastic. Maybe even a year or two from now, depending on how long it takes for the fans to get tired of Cody. But I just think you have something so valuable and a babyface that is Cody Rhodes in every aspect of his babyface version, right? Like he is that babyface that's not supposed to work in 2025, right? Like he 2024, 2025, like he is that clean cut, always wearing a suit, corporate guy, right? Corporate guy, but he is still a man of the people. He still makes you believe. He looks like if you were to walk into a Starbucks and see this guy, you would probably think like, oh god, like this guy probably is like pissed off that he has to wait. He's probably like, just thinking of how inconvenienced he is and like just assuming all the negative things, right? But he ends up being the nicest guy there, buys coffee for everyone, like tips all the baristas, right? Asks how everyone's day is going. Like he just turns out to be the nicest guy. So I think you take advantage of that for as long as you can. And then once you get to a point where people are tired of cheering him, like, okay, like you've already kissed my baby, like my baby is a preteen now or whatever, however long it is, you know what I mean? Like take advantage of it until you can't anymore. And then pull the trigger. Now I'm not saying like do it when it's like going downhill, but right when you get into the like right before you get to the top of the hill, like right when you're about to reach the top, that's when you pull the trigger and then you go from there. So I think what The Rock wants from Cody, how he wants him to be his champion, how he wants him to essentially sell his soul, do it, just not right now. Like go through everything. You still have so much story to tell. And I think this is just going to be the seed for that Cody turn. I don't want to say years from now, but until that happens, right? And I think that we do end up getting another foil that steps in for The Rock and steps in to take that place that Cody doesn't want to take right now. And I think that's what's going to be the most intriguing. I don't know if that's going to be Roman Reigns, if that's going to be a John Cena, a CM Punk. Like, can you imagine if John Cena is like, oh, Cody doesn't want to be The Rock's champion, but I will. Like what? And can you imagine if that actually happened and we finally got a John Cena heel turn in his last year? I think everyone would explode. I think the IWC would explode. I think everyone in the arena would explode. I just think like people would just lose their absolute minds. I don't think that's realistically gonna happen, but I think that would just be so fucking fun. Like, why not, man? And I know why not, but like again, like Oh, I just think if you could, man, like, why not do it, man? But I'm not putting much into that at all. But I'm just saying that's a possibility, or just a small possibility, right? Logan Paul could be fun because imagine The Rock brought up the social media presence, right? The almost, what did he say? Like half a billion followers that he has on Instagram. Who else has a lot of followers, right? Logan Paul. I don't know how many he has, but a shit ton, right? So if Cody Rhodes doesn't want to do that, Logan Paul damn sure would. I don't see Logan Paul turning that down at all. Is that the most exciting and the most main event worthy? No, but publicity wise, like that would get a lot of talks, like that would get a lot of like clicks, all that shit. So I wouldn't be 100% surprised if that happened, or slightly surprised if that happened. So yeah, CM Punk I think would be just fucking head turning and like whiplash inducing, because if that were to happen to, because you would think of what the history is between Punk and Rock, and the fact that Punk always got the short end of the stick whenever The Rock would come back, and The Rock is wanting someone to be his champion, and Cody doesn't want to do it, and this is the only way CM Punk is going to be able to main event WrestleMania and to really go after the championship is to align with The Rock. That would be just fucking insane. So I hope that doesn't happen. Uh, well, I don't even know. Like I say I hope that doesn't happen just because I don't want Punk to ever go corporate. I think that'd be just to his core as, like, who CM Punk the character is and, like, the dude himself, like, I just can never even imagine that, fake or not, like, like, story or not, like, I don't know how he would ever come back from that, like, that would just be, I don't know. That would just be too much for me, I think. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what they end up doing at the chamber and to see what their interaction looks like. I think it's gonna be pretty simple from Cody. He's gonna obviously reject The Rock. I think he missed out on an opportunity by saying, The Rock, you and I both know that I can't be your champion. I'm the people's champion. So I really hope he throws that in there because it'd be a nice little, nice little, I don't want to say slap in the face, but a nice little jab. D-Rock, I just see your comment right there. You said The Rock and Cody segment was definitely too long. Yeah, dude, I went to go back and rewatch that shit. 26 minutes. And that was including The Rock's original entrance. But I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like 26 minutes? Mm. But yeah, dudes, we will be wrapping up here shortly. But I'm going through the comments to see what you guys had to think about and everything, and what you guys had to say about it. Yeah, so you say, whatever we say about Vince, he never teased the match that he didn't deliver. Rock and Cody has been built since last Mania. Changing it now isn't smart. Yeah, and that's what makes this even more intriguing too, because like if and when Cody turns down The Rock, does The Rock step in and just, what does The Rock do? So it's, the chamber is really gonna set the stage for Mania and really answer a lot of questions, I feel. Exactly, Nick. Cody, or corporate Cody, could be an interesting character, but now is not the time. Nah, dude. And I just think they have like the logo, like the American Nightmare logo. Just like there's just so many fun things that they could do with this logo once they turn Cody bad. Like, oh, I think he would be such a good bad guy though. I can't wait for it, but I can and I can't wait for it. Is what I should say. Oh man. Mm, the basketball randomly fell. There's fucking ghosts in here, guys. Shit was random as fuck. Scared my dog. Yes, Nick said he didn't mention anything about his son, only about needing a brother and becoming his champion. Wonder if Roman will be involved in the storyline. And that's why I think it really depends on what Cody's response is going to be, and what Cody specifically says too, because and I think the placement too, like to me it has to, does this open the chamber? Is this like a midway point? Is this the main, like, it would be very odd for I guess maybe you could do it, but to me, it would be weird to do your entire card, have the chamber, everything be resolved, and then have The Rock and Cody come out afterwards. No, because to me, the chamber is going to really play into whatever is happening between The Rock and Cody as well. Maybe not, but that's just kind of my thoughts behind it. So I'm thinking it's either going to open the show or be like midway through. But again, like I don't even see The Rock staying there for the entire pay per view. Like I feel like it's probably going to open. Cody is going to decline to The Rock, and then whatever Cody specifically says, I feel like that's going to incite The Rock, and maybe he will because the Chamber is obviously going to be the main event. So if if The Rock or Cody turning down The Rock does play into the winner of the Chamber, you would think Rock would have some type of involvement with that and some hand in it. And that's why I was kinda going through some of the participants there, and Drew McIntyre too, for instance, right? Like, Drew, who was he when he first came in? The chosen one. So, I think you could really play into that as well. They already have history there. The Rock was the one who went and re-signed McIntyre and gave him a special sword. It gave him that fat contract. How long was that, a year ago at this point? So, there's a lot of different possibilities, but the main question is too, is The Rock going to be wrestling this year? Or is it gonna be next year? And does The Rock plan on wrestling at all, period? I think that you can't just be doing all this to not have The Rock wrestle, period. I think that would just be kinda crazy. So, it's just a matter of when that happens, and if that is gonna be this year too, like, does that fuck up shit for Cena, right? Was it supposed to be Cena versus Cody, and now that The Rock is back, and we could potentially be getting The Rock and Cody at Mania, where does that leave John Cena? So, there's just so many different variables at this point too, and I love it. I love it. I love it that we're not just like, "Oh, well, Cena's gonna win the chamber," and he very well most likely will, but I would be questioning, and I would really be looking at all the odds and really be thinking about it before I put any money down, because you can really it's with The Rock, and again, like, that's why the placement for all this really does matter, but I just really see this being addressed in the opening segment and then followed up with, obviously, with the chamber and the main event, but it's just gonna be really interesting to see the what shakes out with The Rock, because I think those are the big questions. If The Rock is going to be wrestling at Mania, if that's a yes, then okay, then that's got to be against Cody, right? At this point, and if not against Cody, is it going to be against Roman Reigns? But at this point, it doesn't even feel like it's going to be against Roman this year because The Rock hasn't addressed Roman at all. And you would think that if The Rock had an issue, he would have addressed Roman, period. So there's just so much to it. So much. What up, Rude Dog? What up, bro? Cool to see you here, man. Cool to see you here, man. I love hearing your takes. You say live Ash out of nowhere. Speaking of, what about Randy Orton? Yes, that is a very good point, Rude Dog. Very good point as always. Rude Dog. Now you're referring to Rude Dog being the one that The Rock possibly could be aligning with. If and when Cody turns him down. That Not in I think Randy Orton, even if that's what you're referring to or not, but just Randy Orton, period. Randy Orton is another option and wild card out there too, right? The tie-ins with Randy Orton and The Rock being third generation superstars, the lineage, all that's their own bloodlines. That all that to the side. You don't even need the connection between The Rock and Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, because you already have it built in with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, period, right? Which we all know. I think that, and again, too, Randy Orton is really stringent on what happens with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because if the matchup we're getting between, quote unquote matchup we're getting between Owens and Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber isn't the resolution, which I don't think it will be. If they're planning on running that back at Mania, then that ties both of them up. But Randy Orton does have issues with Kevin Owens, right? So another logical opponent and matchup would be Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. But you could also flip that coin and say, well, yeah, technically Kevin Owens did all this shit and put Randy Orton out. But Randy Orton isn't a dumb guy. He's a Viper for a reason, right? Like he sees things from different perspectives. So he can actually end up appreciating what Kevin Owens did and being like, yo, like everything that Kevin Owens has been saying is right. Taking it back to Elias, okay? Kevin Owens has been right about damn near everything that we can recall. So Randy Orton could be out this entire time and be like, yo, and be watching everything from the sideline and being like, yo, Kevin's right. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Like, Cody Rhodes is the issue for all of his problems. Cody Rhodes is the reason Cody Rhodes has problems, right? Cody didn't need to tag with Roman. He did not need to interject himself in the bloodline. He should have won his championship and been done with Roman Reigns, been done with the bloodline, moved on to bigger and better things. And when Roman came back and needed help, he should have been like, nah, kick rocks, bro. Like, I'm good. Thank you. Respectfully, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, if you want a rematch, maybe, but I'm not teaming with you. I'm not helping your family out. Bada boom. Maybe if you want to entertain Cody being friends with Jay, that's one thing, but definitely not Roman Reigns. So I feel like Cody really shot himself in the foot, character-wise, of course, by teaming up with Roman. And I think that is really going to be the downfall for him with a lot of different angles of and different spin-offs of that decision and versions and different. I think I think that Cody's like that issue is going to be the common denominator for different feuds that Cody has, but it's going to be for different reasons for different people, right? In different ways it impacted them. It impacted Kevin Owens in one way, but it pissed Randy Orton off in a different way, right? So I think that that is going to be a story that we get long term. But it just I don't see Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes at Mania right now. I feel like that would be possibly like a SummerSlam thing if Cody Rhodes can make it out of Mania, right? As champion, which I was about to say I'm sure he will, but who the fuck knows? Because who knows who he's gonna face again? So we'll see, man. We'll see. Baby, you said Cena finally being heel makes sense because the best characters are just being yourself turning up to 11. Facts, bro. Nick, you say, what if Punk's favor is to have him and make Rock choose Punk as his corporate champion? Gets him that Mania main event too. And that's what I was saying too, right? Like that's why it makes sense to do the Rock and Cody thing first, and then once we get to the chamber, if Punk sees what happens and he ends up losing or whatever it is, Punk can either cash in his favor or he can go to Heyman and have Rock pull strings for the chamber match. And I don't want to see any like funny business happen in the chamber or like have someone come in and like for instance like have the Rock come in and like beat everyone's ass and have like even if it's Punk like have Punk like clean house type thing. Like I wouldn't want to see anything like that. I don't know, man. Like I think it could be again, like I was saying earlier, like really intriguing to have a corporate Punk. You know what I mean? But I just feel like it would be so damaging to Punk at his core. Um, yeah, man. But I would be so fucking tuned in though to see what it looked like and how it played out each week. But I think it would hurt my heart. E, you said, do you see any of WWE LFG? Nah, man, I haven't. I haven't. There's so much shit to watch, dude. I have not. Is it good though? I've heard honestly pretty good reactions to it and good reviews. Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of, the Toronto crowd isn't going to like a screwy finish. I think the last place you want to do any type of fuckery in is in Toronto. And so just I think less is more there. Speaking of Toronto, what if we get like a Bret Hart sighting or anything like that? That could be cool. But yeah, guys, we'll be wrapping up there. Of course, always as always, but longer than I intended. Because you guys are just that good, man. You guys keep me glued in and tied in, and then I just end up rambling on. But I will say, I was thinking about dabbling with it today, but I didn't want to. I have a TikTok page, and I don't know how you guys feel about TikTok. I just be posting random shit over there, but I've been able to go live on there for a little while now, and I was thinking about doing that, but I don't really know. I don't really know. So yeah, just a random thought there. But back to the main thing and the most important thing here with you guys. I appreciate you guys for popping in and sticking along with me and going live in the chat, whether you're obviously here now, if you're one of the folks in here now, or if you're watching our replay and you're dropping a comment, I appreciate that as well. Because I love, like I said earlier, I truly love hearing like everyone's takes and everyone's thoughts. Like, y'all made me think about different things, and I just think it's fun having like our little community here and our little chat base. So I appreciate you guys. There's a lot of different things you could be doing right now, especially on a Sunday. So I appreciate you popping in and checking us out and just being here, period. And for subscribing and liking and all that stuff, right? But for real, until next time, though, guys, as always, stay safe out there. The world is a crazy place, so just stay safe. And most importantly, because assuming you have been safe, if you're not safe, then you can't enjoy wrestling, right? So, assuming you're safe, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling out there, guys. Take care.